Hey, what's up, dudes, and welcome back. I figured I would point this down a little bit more so that you can see um, what it is that I'm eating today. Which today I told you yesterday I was gonna eat some lasagna. I got this at my mom's house Sunday. I went over there, so we're gonna eat some lasagna tonight. I really liked the video from last night, and I hope you did too. Um, I don't like this bowl because it's got this lid. And I don't want to like tear this lid off. Because then now you have like a bowl and a lid. And it's harder to like, they get lost and stuff like that. And I'll put this over here. But hi. If you're new here, welcome, welcome. If you're not new here, well, welcome back. I am just some guy, and I am just eating some dinner. And BSing. We got some bread and some butter. This is that Kerrygold butter, the kind of stuff, the stuff you gotta like take out a small loan for on your house for. Oh, what I was gonna say. How many of you have fork preference? Like, some people obviously are gonna have like all the same forks, right? You get like a set of forks and everything, and they're all the same. But for those of you who have different forks, do you have a fork preference? Like, do you have that one like really big, heavy, meaty fork that maybe you stole from a Denny's or something like that? Or well, a restaurant that's probably not Denny's, because I don't think Denny's has got good forks. Most Denny's are pretty cheap. But like, you go to like you like go to a fancy restaurant and you're like, ooh man, this is a really good fork. They're not gonna miss it. Yoink. Do you have a fork preference? Because I definitely do. Now, this one isn't a preferential fork, but I was thinking about it because I was washing up a fork, to eat with, and I was like, man, sure wish I knew where my like big chunky boy fork was. How many of you eat lasagna like this? Or like eat a meal? Like if you got bread, you just put some of the meal on the bread and then you just eat the bread with it. So it's like a lasagna sandwich. Now the problem that with that comes is if you ain't got a lot of bread, you run out of bread before the end of the meal, then you ain't got nothing to like clean up all the stuff in the bottom with. I was thinking like I need to maybe get like a candle with like these fire lights for the table, so that it adds more ambiance when we have our little dinner dates here. You know what I mean? Maybe add like a little bit more light. Maybe I could do this before like, well, I don't really want to do it before 5 p.m. because then that's not really dinner for me. But like, it gets dark so early now. I'm like, I think it always like surprises me every winter when we do the whole time change thing. Just how dark it gets, because it'll be like 6 o'clock and it's just pitch black out. And I'm like, man, time to go to bed. But then I'm like, oh, it's like 6 o'clock. And then I'm already thinking I need to go to bed. So I just go lay around and like read manga for like the next like 7 or 8 hours, because I don't go to sleep till like 2 in the morning. But like when it first starts, you're just like, man, I need to sleep. It's dark outside. my natural circadian rhythm. I know that's not the right word. Probably. Maybe it is. Maybe it's not. My rhythm of the night is kicking in. Yo. So I finally put up the TV in my work office. So, backstory. I was trying to fix Ricky's computer a long while back. Well, earlier in the year. And so I'm in my other office, right? My work office. And I had a big TV mounted up on the wall. Well, it comes down from the ceiling. I got slanted ceilings. And so I got this big TV, right? And I'm like, oh, well, I'll just use this as a monitor. I'm pretty sure there was something wrong with something in her computer. It was like short-circuiting some stuff. Because it just bricked my TV. I tried everything I could to get it fixed. But like it just like insta-burned her desktop onto my TV. And then the whole TV, except for like a tiny little bit at the bottom, was just black. And then it was just like a sliver of her computer desktop. Never could fix it. I tried everything, factory resets, all, you name it. Like I spent probably like a good solid like week trying to fix this thing. And then it was like, I just buy another one off Amazon. You know, they're pretty cheap. 55-inch TVs nowadays, not really much. So I got it. And then I was like, well, I can't put this up by myself because, you know, I need somebody to hold it up there while I screw it in. And then I was like, I'll get around to it. So when we were cleaning, and Jonas was over, we were going to put the TV up. Well, come to find out that the mount that I had didn't fit this TV, which was stupid. So, I procrastinated for a while, finally ended up buying a ceiling mount, and then yesterday, finally put the TV up. So now, I have an internet-capable TV in my work office. It was probably the worst idea ever. Now, I was going to use this to hook like one of my old computers up to and make it like a laptop or a work laptop or work desktop, so I could like run ChatGPT stuff through it, you know, transcribe meetings and everything, and like kind of just keep everything organized there. Because work doesn't really probably like you using ChatGPT to transcribe meeting notes. But if I just set up a capture card and then I capture the laptop on my desktop, because you can't, obviously at work you can't install stuff like OBS or anything like that to just screen record, obviously. So I figured I would just make the laptop an external monitor and then just use OBS to capture that as a source on my other desktop, and that way I could run ChatGPT to transcribe my meeting notes. Easy peasy. And then I don't really have to pay less attention, you know. So that's something that I plan on doing at some point. But regardless, that was what the TV's original intended use was. However, yesterday, we just watched Idiocracy, and then we watched Robots, the kids show movie, and then today we watched a whole bunch of conspiracy theory videos on how the moon is hollow and how there is a soul capturing device on the moon, because the aliens that have the planet surrounded feed off of our negative emotions, which they must be using the most recent stuff to ramp that up because they're eating good these days, boys. You know, almost as good as me. But apparently the reptilians from the stars use our souls as food, and the more negative energy we've built up over time, the more delicious it is to them, and the more nutritious it is to them. And then, if we have enough negativity, the soul cube captures us and then reincarnates us to put us into the cycle again. Maybe. You know, it is what it is. I will say, though, the moon is very weird. The moon is super strange. I mean, realistically, I think the biggest thing for me is we supposedly put a person on the moon back in 1969. Now that was almost 60 years ago. You know, like what, 50, 56 years ago, 55 years ago, whatever, close enough to 60, right? At this point, we have a hard time getting out of low Earth orbit, right? We supposedly sent somebody to the moon 60 years ago when we didn't even have real computers. Like, dog, the computers that they had back then aren't as good as this phone that I'm recording this video on. Now, some people will go on the record and be like, oh, well, the technology was lost. Dog, where'd you lose it? Did you not write it down? Did nobody record anything? Was it just like when that one employee leaves the department who's like got all the tribal knowledge and you have no clue what you're doing and you got to like try to figure out from like weird case notes that they did like on some case 2 years ago about why the SIP servers were just, you know, flopping all over the place? You know, is that like what we're going with here? Like none of those people like wrote anything down, and now we have to like come back through and try to reinvent the wheel on how to get past the radiation belt outside of low Earth orbit? Like, come on, man. Like, that's, in my opinion, like the most sus thing, right? So whenever people are like, you know, oh, the moon landing was fake, stuff like that, you know, that's the biggest thing that I go with on it, right? Is just like, dog, you are not telling me, you know, even if they want to say, oh, well, we only went to the moon as a flexing contest on Russia to see who could get there first. And it's like, okay, well, if we got there first, why wouldn't we go back again? Like, you can't tell me there ain't things up there that we would want to mine. You know, we take over smaller countries for just a drop of oil. I mean, I don't know what's in the moon, but I mean, there's probably oil there. Maybe somebody should tell Americans that there's oil in the moon and we'll fix our space program, right? But so like, anyways, like there's a lot of other things that were really cool. Like if you look at the surface of the moon, right? Surface of the moon is just like absolutely littered with like massive craters and stuff like that. But from what they were saying is that most of the craters aren't very deep. And so the theory with Hollow Moon is that there's like a space station or something inside of it, or like a mining operation or something, and like the outside of it is, or like right under the rock is metal, and that's why none of the asteroids, meteors, whatever, like deep, like penetrate kind of deep. And that seems to like track, right? Like, there's a difference between hitting the surface of the moon with like an asteroid or a meteor the size of like a basketball and one the size of like a Toyota Supra, right? Like it's going to penetrate harder. Now, maybe it has something to do with the gravity on there. I don't know. I'm not a moon expert, but I can see that maybe being a thing. Um, I don't know enough about the moon to be like this is what it is, but I also know enough about common sense to be like, huh, that is a little bit sus, And I mean, like, I think the cornerstone of conspiracy theory is that the government's gonna lie. The government is going to lie to you, and if you go, hey government, why don't we go back to the moon? They're gonna be like, brr, we don't have the technology. Steve was the only one who knew how to do the rockets, and well, we don't know where Steve is. Steve just stopped showing up to work. I mean, I think the Anunnaki took him or something like that. Like I'm not going to trust no fucking government to tell me the truth about why we can't go back to space. I think when we went to the moon, maybe, and then we found out what was up there, and it was one of those things where it was like, the aliens were like, look, dog, I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. You can either just not come back here, or I'm just saying, find out. And then we were like, okay, well, I guess we're just not going back to the moon. Like that just seems like the most reasonable thing. And so the Hollow Moon documentary stuff went into one of my like recent. This has been something that I've been interested in for a long time, but just recently came up because Ricky was unaware of this, right? Antarctica. Antarctica is crazy, dude. One, you just can't go there. Like you can't just go to Antarctica, right? Because like 7 countries own parts of Antarctica. And the craziest part to me is that the United States doesn't have a claim to Antarctica. United States sticks their nose into anything and everything that it can. But not Antarctica. Seems a little sus to me. The most powerful nation in the world doesn't have any claim, no stakes on Antarctica. A little weird. But the other thing that's the weirdest to me in that whole situation is that even though Antarctica is all cut up for other countries, there's a big ass chunk of it, a bigger chunk than some of the other countries have, that's unclaimed land. Why nobody claim it? You would think if it was unclaimed, America would be the first ones to go down there and be like, yo, dog, I'm setting up shop here. Now, some people will be like, oh, well, it's uninhabitable. Dog, all of Antarctica is uninhabitable. What do you mean it's uninhabitable? The whole ass continent is frozen. That don't even make no sense. Uninhabitable. Dude, do you think that's going to stop America? There might be oil under there. Who knows? Or ancient aliens. Now, the thing is, they'll be like, oh, like I heard one of the things, like one of the reasons why you can't go explore Antarctica, right, is they're like, oh, well, human beings being there might upset the balance of nature and the ecology and stuff like that. Dude, everything's dead. It's frozen. It's super frozen. Do you think somebody walking through there is gonna, what, interrupt the snow? Oh, damn. That's crazy. Most likely, they're just gonna get dead. But the running theory is, right, is that during World War II, the Nazis were really big on setting up camp down there. So I bet you, because they were pretty technologically advanced, right? I guarantee, I would wager, and I mean, I'll never be able to find out, right? But I will wager that they went down there. Well, there's a 50-50 chance. They either set up some sort of crazy thriving country in the snow, and now they control the world from their seat of power in the Arctic, or not the Arctic Circle, that's north, from the South Pole in Antarctica, or they died. They're one or the other. But like the thing is, right, is so like there's been some like mix-ups on Google Earth where they showed off like you could find like cave entrances and stuff, and then all of a sudden it was scrubbed after people found it. Always a little bit sus, right? So the prevailing theory is that if you go into like some of the underground in Antarctica, since it's very volcanic, you could have geothermal energy. They could be rocking like an actual climate controlled, underground utopia, all that stuff. Now, the other thing is apparently there's an underground, under the ice black pyramid in Alaska as well, which we found out about today too on another video about Alaska. And so me and Ricky think that the Nazis took over Antarctica and they've got a base down there. The Illuminati has a base at the pyramid in Alaska because that's closer up to like the North Pole type deal. And then there's going to be a third one, which is going to make like a triangle of power. We're probably thinking Alaska. So what, probably somewhere over in like, where would be a good center point? Not Siberia. I feel like that's a little bit too close. Like somewhere over in like Europe, something along the top right there, and then down to Alaska to make like the triangle that shows up in things, So that's the prevailing theory, about all that. And so I thought it was kind of fun. Because like I watched like this like video like a while back when I had Conspiracy Theory Sundays on stream about how the Atlanteans are from Mars and they awoke in their Merkabas and then they piloted the pyramids in order to fend things off. Now, when it comes to conspiracies and stuff like that, I always feel like as long as it's like kind of believable, like I'm in. You got me locked in. Like the Alaskan pyramid one, like I'm locked in, bro. All the way up until the point where they're like, oh yeah, this underground base is staffed by aliens and humans. Like you get to the alien part and I'm like, usually I tap out, right? No. Could be true. I don't know. But I feel like at least for me, if you keep it in the realm, I know I'm picky with my conspiracy theories. Super weird. But if you keep it in the realm of like I could see just human beings doing this, I'm good. Because I personally don't think that human beings could coexist with an alien species. I don't think so. Because like, I feel like human nature wise, we just wouldn't be able to do it. We can't coexist with ourselves. Unless that's because of the lizard people that are eating our souls full of negativity. In which case, then we just blame them instead of ourselves. Like, it's not my fault that I'm angry all the time. If it wasn't for those lizard people getting me all egged on so that I taste better, I'd be a pretty peaceful, happy person. can't believe they would do this. So, long story short, my productivity at work has just been not great the past 2 days. And I'll be real, it's probably not going to be great tomorrow either. Because I already found some videos when I was scrolling through that I was like, I'm going to watch this tomorrow. Because now I've got to feed Ricky more. I've got to feed Ricky more conspiracy theories so that she's armed with the knowledge that she needs. You know, I saw a thing not too long ago. It was supposed to be, it was a meme that was being passed around, but it said something like conspiracy theorists or people who like failed high school science. I'm like, people will always dunk on conspiracy theorists, right? They're like, oh, they don't have critical thinking, blah, blah, blah. But I think to be like a true conspiracy theorist, not just like, you know, a person who just regurgitates like mainstream talking points, like to be a real conspiracy theorist, like you got to have the most critical thinking, right? Like your critical thinking has to go into like overdrive where you're semi-delusional because you can't think of anything and give it the benefit of the doubt because you think so critically about things. You know what I mean? Like there's a difference between like somebody saying the election was rigged and somebody saying that you know, they're putting chemicals in the water to make the frogs gay, which was true. Just saying, conspiracy theorists are only conspiracy theorists until the conspiracy ends up being real. You know, Wuhan lab, gay frogs, MK Ultra. Now, I mean, there's obviously some conspiracy theories where even I'm like, yeah, come on, man. Like, I don't think so. But like, there's a lot of things out there. I personally feel that if you take everything that you see and absolutely nothing is sus about any of it, well, you're probably just an NPC and you don't have critical thinking. Because there's so many times where things will come up, like, you know, birds. Let's be real. Birds ain't real. That's a joke. Birds may be real, but who knows? You ever seen a baby pigeon? I haven't. Like, I've seen them on TV. Like, I haven't seen one in real life. I'm just saying. You know, they're transmitting the 5Gs. But if you see everything on TV, media, internet, and you just go, yeah, that's real. Like, you don't have, you're not thinking critical about anything. Because there's so many times where I see things and I'm just like, man, that don't make no sense. That don't make a lick of sense. Now, I might not care whether it makes sense or not. But, you know, I mean, I'm not saying everything is a conspiracy theory. But like, the government isn't truthful. Government super lies to you all the time. If you take everything that they say at face value, you're a dummy. Man, that was really good. I actually probably could have made that 2 meals because that was a lot of lasagna. But that was good regardless. And we had a good conspiracy theory dinner together. Now, if you ever want to wonder why I'm single, it's because if we were on a dinner date right now, that's probably what I would have talked about. And then she would have been like, yeah, I had a really good time, but I don't know how I feel about the Nazi presence in Antarctica. And I'd be like, that's just what a Nazi from Antarctica would say. Anyways, if you guys like this, like, fave, subscribe, comment down below, and I will catch you guys later. Take it easy, homies. Peace out.